How to use Pytest to check that error is not raised. Let's assume we have SMTH like that. Q. How can I make test_foo3 to test that no Maya is raised? It's obvious that I could just test. But I want to test that via pytest.raises. Is this possible some way? For example, in a case that function foo has no return value at all. It could make sense to test this way, I'm HO.
A test will fail if it raises any kind of unexpected exception. You can just invoke foo7, and you will have tested that no Maya is raised. So, following will suffice. If you want to be explicit and write an assert statement for this, you can do.
I was curious to see if a non_raises would work. A quick test of this is test_notraises.py. It does seem to work. However, I'm not sure if it really reads well in the test.
Building on top of what Oisin mentioned, you can make a simple not_raises function that acts similar to Pytest's raises. This is fine if you want to stick to having raises having a counterpart and thus your tests being more readable. In essence, however, you don't really need anything than just running the block of code you want to test on its own line. Pytest will fail anyway as soon as that block raises an error.
Since this question was answered, the Pytest docs have updated info on this subject that's worth mentioning here. This URL. It's similar to some of the other answers, but using parameterize and a newer built-in null context that makes the solution really clean. A potential Python 3.7 plus only example would look like. Using parameterize this way makes it possible to combine ops test cases, like doing it this way allows you to test that it did not raise any exception. Null context is meant as a stand-in for an optional context manager, Pytest.raises, in this case. It's not actually doing anything, so if you wanted to test that it did not raise a specific exception, you should see one of the other answers.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.